Mark 15:21-39 says, "Then they compelled a certain man, Simon, a Cyrenian, and the father of Alexander and Rufus, and he was coming out of the country and passing by to bear his cross. And they brought him to the place Golgotha, which is translated place of a skull. Then they gave him wine mingled with myrrh to drink, but he did not take it. And when they crucified him, they divided his garments, casting lots for them to determine what every man should take. Now it was the third hour, and they crucified him. And the inscription of his accusation was written above. It said, 'The King of the Jews.' With him, they also crucified two robbers, one on his right and the other on his left. So the scripture was fulfilled, which says, 'And he was numbered with the transgressors.' And those who passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads and saying, 'Aha, you who destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself and come down from the cross.' Likewise, the chief priests also mocking among themselves with the scribes said, 'He saved others, himself he cannot save. Let the Christ, the King of Israel, descend now from the cross that we may see and believe.' Even those who were crucified with him reviled him. Now, when the 6th hour had come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. And at the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, 'Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani,' which is translated, 'My God, why have you forsaken me?' Some of those who stood by when they heard that said, 'Look, he is calling for Elijah.' Then someone ran and filled a sponge full of sour wine and put it on a reed and offered it to him to drink, saying, 'Let him alone. Let us see if Elijah will come to take him down.' And Jesus cried out with a loud voice and breathed his last. Then the veil of the temple was torn from top to bottom. So when the centurion who stood opposite him saw it, he cried out and breathed his last. And he said, 'Truly this man was the Son of God.'" On this day, over 2,000 years ago, God demonstrated his own love towards us, that we were still sinners, Christ died for us. On this day, over 2,000 years ago, Jesus was obedient to the point of death, even death on the cross. On this day, over 2,000 years ago, as a bondservant unto the Father, Jesus was betrayed, beaten, and bruised for our blessing. On this day, over 2,000 years ago, Jesus was crucified on a wooden cross, taking the full wrath of God upon himself, so that those who would believe and call on his name would become righteous before God the Father, both now and for eternity. On this day, over 2,000 years ago, it wasn't the nails that held Jesus on the cross, it was his love. Jesus could have called down legions of angels to rescue him, but it was his love for the Father and love for all of humanity that held him on that cross. On this day, over 2,000 years ago, Jesus cried out, not in defeat, but in triumph, saying, "It is finished." Jesus gave up his spirit, and at that very moment, the veil in the temple was torn from top to bottom, thus showing us that the way into God's presence was and is accessible. Today, because of Jesus, what he did over 2,000 years ago, we have hope, freedom, life, identity, purpose, and value. Today, we remember that Jesus died so that we could live. Today, we remember that Jesus also calls us to pick up our cross, deny ourselves, and follow him, knowing that his way is the best way that leads to quality and quantity of life that we were made for. Today, we celebrate Jesus and choose to honor him by laying down our life in surrender so that he can glorify himself in us and through us. Today, I hope and pray that you, me, we would keep our eyes on Jesus, who is the author and finisher of our faith. He is faithful. Today, let's live for him together. God bless you guys.